So I've solicited the help of the lovely Rachel, and we're going to take you through a role play where we use rebuttals back and forth to get to yes. Keep in mind that this material coincides with the course materials in the book titled Overcoming Concerns Using Rebuttals. As we've stated in other videos, sales do not occur in a vacuum. All of this has led up to this point in time right now, to where now we're battling back and forth. Mrs. Snow, played by the lovely Rachel, didn't take place just now. If we've done our due diligence and we've built this up over the course of time through building rapport, asking open-ended questions, building value, all the things we've talked about up to this point, this part shouldn't be necessary, to be honest with you. At least not to the extent that I'm about to take it. But follow this. I'm trying to teach you principles as opposed to just using random rebuttals. And okay, this is a one-size-fits-all approach towards rebuttals. I'm not about that. I'm about teaching principles so that you know what to look for, and we can get inside her head a little bit and figure out what is she feeling, what is she thinking, what are her concerns, what are her fears, and then I can make a logical and or emotional response to her in the moment because the situation dictates that, and also she dictates that. So I'm trying to get you to be pliable and flexible within the moment. I'm trying to get you to do what comes natural to you in the moment, as opposed to pre-rehearsed cookie-cutter rebuttals to a standard concern that you might have. Does that make sense? So we're going to take it from here. We have a script here, but we don't have to follow it perfectly. I just want a script here so that way the situation she gives me, I kind of have an idea of what's coming. In this example, Mrs. Snow, again played by Rachel, Mrs. Snow is someone that is a moving towards personality, at least in this scenario. So we know that if you've read the materials, which you need to, you will know what we need to do and what we need to say and how we need to approach her in this situation. In this example, we know that Mrs. Snow is a moving towards person. How do we know this? Did I just guess that or pull it out thin air? No. We've spent time, roughly an hour, if you're doing it the proper way, 45 minutes an hour properly, getting her to the point to where she's excited and motivated. But also, what about me? Well, it's given me time to uncover her driving want, what motivates her emotionally, what her fears are, any sort of irrationalities that are involved with her decision-making process. I now know this because I've spent time getting to know her, building rapport, building value, understanding, trying to build commitment, understanding what drives her to do what she does and gets her to make decisions that she makes. So I'm not just arriving here out of thin air and here we are in the middle of the room together. This takes place after all that, and now we're going in for the price close, and now she's got some concerns that I should have done a good job crushing before, but for whatever reason in this scenario, I did not. She's a tough cookie, Mrs. Snow. So I have to break her down now once I get here. Now, if you've listened to any of my materials thus far, you understand that this will not happen very often if we're doing it properly. Because we've done a good job on tour and through the sales process of identifying concerns, crushing those concerns before we ever get there, doing a proper recap if we need to, pushing her emotional hot buttons, getting her used to saying yes to us, okay, conditioning her. And then at this point, it really should just be a matter of not what she's buying, or if she's buying rather, but what is she buying? We already know that she's here. Why would she be sitting here with me if she wasn't interested in buying? So if we do come in contact with someone like Mrs. Snow that's hard-headed and doesn't want to take my advice, that's fine. Then we do have rebuttals for those scenarios. You're probably not going to encounter them very often, but nevertheless, we have them at our disposal if we need them. They're another tool in our tool belt. Again, I'm not a big believer in prefabricated rebuttals. I think you should do what comes naturally in the moment. But if you're new to this or you're a novice at it, you don't have this is part of your skill set that's not very polished yet. Well, that's why we're here. So we're going to go through that a little bit now. But again, notice how these are principles. So I'm going to react to her in real time, even though I have this little safety script. We're going to have to react to her in real time, depending on what the situation calls for. Mrs. Snow, you told me when you first came in that it really bothered you that when you went to the beach, you felt that people were looking at you and you weren't comfortable with your body. How are you going to feel differently when you feel completely confident and not self-conscious at all walking along the beach? Now, notice that what I'm doing here is I'm actually using Mrs. Snow's words. Again, if you read the course materials, you'll know that's what she mentioned to me earlier in the profile, in the uptake, okay, or in the intake rather. So I'm using her own words back at her. I'm leveraging what she told me. I'm allowed to use anything she tells me. It's fair game. It's not unprofessional. She told me that in confidence, and now I'm using it to help her get to yes. Does that make sense? Help us get to yes. Okay, so.
I think I feel much happier with myself and my appearance.
Exactly. Weeks from now, when you're completely confident in that bikini, will committing to my help be worth it to you?
I guess so.
She guesses so. Now notice when we're talking here, now I have used the pronoun I and you a couple times, but for the most part, we're going to use we, our, us, everything's a team. Again, any of the other course materials say the same thing. We're doing this as a team. I'm coaching her, but we're working together ultimately as a team. Her goals, her emotional wants, her needs are my needs. Her pain is my pain. So I'm trying to help her remedy that, but I'm not trying to tell her what to do. I'm coming at it from an approach of I'm helping her solve her own problem. Does that make sense? I'm helping her help herself. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm just here to guide her in the direction she ultimately wants to go anyway. I'm just trying not to get her away. I'm just steering her. That's it. I have the expertise and the way to get her, if I'm doing it properly and I'm professional, I know how to leverage that emotion to get her to actually take action. Because the problem really here isn't that she's not working out. The problem is she doesn't know how to use her emotions to serve her. In other words, it's an emotional, mental, psychological issue. That's what all this always is. It's not the working out part of it. It's not the eating part of it. It's a psychological issue. It's a commitment issue. It's the inability to follow through issue. Does that make sense? Let me ask you this, Mrs. Snow. If we train for a couple months and effectively and efficiently reach our goals, feeling completely confident in that bikini, would you give your money back to me if that meant reverting back to your previous physique?
No, of course not.
First of all, who would say no to that? Correct? Why is that? Is because then you know guaranteed that all the exercise and the guidance would have absolutely worked.
Yes. If it definitely worked, then I wouldn't give the money back. Why would I do that?
So your concern with joining isn't so much the price as is your concern that you aren't going to achieve your goal.
Yes.
Right. It's hardly ever price. Let's be honest. We can isolate its price, which we'll get to in a second. But what is every concern? Lack of commitment. If we go back to psychology we just talked about, what are we talking about? It's not an issue with her price, or really when it comes down to it. She might think it is, but what it is a lack of commitment. She's probably committed to getting that purse 2 hours before she came into the gym. No? I mean, am I lying? Okay, there you go.
I'll never tell.
So now we have the concern isolated. So now we know that for her it's price. Now, again, we know that all these concerns are basically masked for commitment concerns anyway. Okay, especially spousal, which you know that I hate. But in her case, she thinks it's price. Or in that case, she thinks that I think it's price. Or she really does feel it's price. Regardless, I've now isolated it to price. So now she can't say anything else about anything. That's her excuse. And that's all these are excuses. For herself. Not for me. For herself. So, we're going to take it from the top. I understand. Mrs. Snow, you told me earlier that this goal was a level 9 out of a level 10 when I asked you how motivated you are in achieving it. Do you still feel that way?
Yeah, I do. I just want to make sure that I can get there.
Okay. So, again, still an excuse, still a mask for price concern. Or what is always a mask, a commitment concern. Do you feel we will have a better chance of achieving this goal with our guidance and expertise or by yourself, given that you shared earlier that you've never really dedicated yourself to a workout program before? Keep in mind that none of this is going to work, again, if you're doing this in a vacuum, because I know that she told me earlier that she's never dedicated herself to a program. This is her first time. I wouldn't know that information if I just arrived here. So again, I'm using what she told me earlier in a chess match to leverage it in this situation.
I know. I just want to be sure.
Okay, now she's backing herself into the corner. See how she's doing that? So again, she's kind of playing the same hand over and over again. So what am I going to do? I got to react in this time, in this particular situation. Mrs. Snow, do you agree that the only real way we're ever going to actually know if it works is when we commit to doing it? Don't we sort of inherently know that if we commit to eating right and working out consistently, that we're going to get results?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. If we then agree with that, then do you feel like this is the point where we need to receive guidance, expertise, and be held accountable by a professional whose entire job it is to customize our program for us and see it through until we reach that feeling of total self-confidence? Again, that's what her feeling. I'm going back to that driving want. When we put on that bikini and walk down the beach, feeling no self-consciousness.
Yes.
Tell you what, commit to working out here with me, and I will personally see to it that you feel like that when you want to take that walk down the beach.
I still don't know. I mean, I want to, but...
Now, I laid that car down kind of early, okay? Normally, I may not do that for a little bit longer. I'm still kind of dragging it. Again, ask her questions that lead her where she already wants to go anyway. I'm just setting the trap. She's already set the trap for herself because she's already isolated it. Well, I mean, you have, Mrs. Snow. So, I'm helping her help herself by using her old excuses against her. If she's trying to actually make a change, which I'm assuming she is because she came to see me, how are we going to do that unless I'm able to take what she's doing and make her see for herself that all this is really just silly? It all comes back to the same thing, commitment. Are you actually going to do something? Or are you just comfortable feeling good about the idea of it? Two different things. Our job is to get them to take action, not to think about it or want to. We want to get them to take action now, not yesterday. Yesterday, nothing happened. So as far as we're concerned, Miss Snow could be 40 years old. It's been 40 years since she's ever started a program. 40 years. So that time of inactivity is over with. If she came here to take action, she's either going to do it now or never, as far as I'm concerned. So as her coach, as her mentor, if you will, I have to get her to take action without making her mad at me. Okay, you follow me? Mrs. Snow, do you agree that the only real way we're ever going to know if it works is when we actually commit to doing it? Don't we sort of inherently know that if we commit to eating right and work out consistently 3 to 5 times a week, that we're going to naturally see results anyway?
Yeah.
Okay, so you agree to that. Okay. Well, if you agree to it, that is the case, then don't you feel like this is a point in which it is time, after all this building up to all this, that this is time to receive the guidance that we need and to actually take action and redirect where we want to take things as opposed to just thinking about it like we used to?
Yeah, it's just hard to admit that I need that help.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you telling me that. That's okay. We're going to do this together. Tell you what, commit to working out here, and I'll personally see to it. Do you feel the way you want to feel when you walk out on the beach next time?
I want to. I mean, I do. I still don't know. It's not free.
Spoken like a true buyer. Okay, so here we go again. Back to throwing that car down, playing that car, and that's fine. She's playing hard to get here, but that's okay. We're not going to give up on it. We thought we were there. Did you see how she reacted to the last thing I said to her? We thought we were there. Still not quite there, so you still got to crush it. It's okay. Deaf ear the concern, keep going. Now you got to re-isolate. You have to show understanding, and then you got to reclose. Here we go. I understand. Miss Snow, if the price attached to getting you guidance that you need and the expertise that you need and the accountability that you need to make this goal a reality were nothing, would you commit to a workout program right now?
Yeah.
But it's not free, huh?
But it's not free.
Okay. Well, of course not. And I understand. But neither one of us would commit under those circumstances, would we?
What do you mean?
Well, I don't know about you, but I don't want to commit to a program that has no value attached to it. Take advice from somebody that has no expertise. Be held accountable by somebody that doesn't know how to hold somebody accountable. A free yet comprehensive program, that seems kind of too good to be true to me. A free yet comprehensive program that provides accountability, expertise, and guidance that's customized to meet a person's needs seems a little bit too good to be true to me if it's free. Does that sound true? That sounds pretty valuable to me.
I agree it has a lot of value. I just don't think I can afford it.
Okay. All right, so now now we know we're getting to the price concern again, so we're backing into a corner here. Okay, again, we're making this ridiculous. Is this going to happen like this in real life? It does happen occasionally, believe it or not. And those are the fun ones. That's when you get to battle a little bit. But, again, if we're doing the proper way, it's not going to happen that often. Okay, so we agree that a workout program is what we need, and we would commit to it. So commitment's not an issue for you. It's really that it really needs to fit our budget. So other than price, is there anything that would keep you from committing today? Now, that's a ballsy move I just did there. That wasn't even called for in the script. That was just natural. That just came out. I couldn't help it. Normally, I don't use it. Now, that's very interesting that came out in this moment because, again, you see how it was in the moment. That is not in the script. Was that in the script?
It's not in the
script. That came out because I was there in the moment with her like an actor would be. in the moment, paying attention to her, listening to what she has to tell me. I was feeling what she had to say there. Now, I very rarely use that one. That is a prefabricated one, actually. But that rarely comes out. When I say rare, I mean, literally, I use that virtually never. Because it's first of all, it's a very ballsy thing to say. It puts you in line. And if she says no to that, you're kind of screwed there. But I'm to the point now where I've got her so isolated. What is she going to say? If she says no to this, she can't say no to me at that point. Correct? Does that make sense? So now I said, other than price, is there anything that would keep you from committing to your workout program today? She said,
I'm afraid of failure.
Well, she said no earlier. Okay? She said no. So now we know it's a price. So now we got to overcome that. And that's pretty easy to do. So basically, if we can find something that works within her budget, and this is not scripted as well. Often when I say to people when it comes to price concerns, I say, look, Mrs. Snow, I've helped hundreds, maybe even thousands of people and coached them to get the results they were after. There's never been anyone I wasn't able to help if they wanted help. If they felt like they needed help and they really, truly were committed to the goal, I will find you something to work out. Are you okay with that? Okay, I will find you something. There's no one I've never not been able to help. As long as you're committed to actually working out. Are you committed to it? Are you definitely going to do it and follow through with this? You see the value in it?
I'm seeing the value in it. I'm scared about the money. I'm scared of failure. But you're giving me the confidence that if I work together with you, that we can make this happen.
Well, that's what she might be thinking in her head. Rarely are they ever going to tell you that out loud. Okay? Very, very rarely going to give you that much honesty. So again, buyers are liars. You got to read between the lines. So she was being very honest in this scenario. And that might be what she's thinking in her head. Otherwise, she's not going to buy. But in actuality, she's not going to tell me that most times. So what we'll do now is we're going to offer her alternative options. Since at this point we've shown her, she's shown that she's had a few price concerns already. Now we just need to find an option that fits her. Now, again, I've already shown her prices. If it's me doing it, usually I'm going to show her 3. So she's already declined the 3 options I've shown her. So what I had to do is I had to build her back up. Okay, again, this is assuming that we've already shown her prices 3 times. Or we've shown her prices once, but I give her 3 options. Also keep in mind, this is not going to work unless we isolate the concerns again and we build the value again. So we can't just go from the price. In other words, we can't just go from showing her 3 prices and saying, oh, here's another alternative price, assuming the price dropped. Because again, it's always commitment anyway. I had to recommit her before I was able to drop the price on her. Even if it was a price concern, that was the only concern there was, which it never is. It's always commitment. I'm still going to have to rebuild the commitment anyway so that I can still build value in what I'm about to offer her because this is of lesser price. I don't want her to make her feel like, well, this is the only one I can afford, so I'm just going to have to go with this one. No. I want her to feel good about it. So I'm always going to congratulate her after she chooses one and tell her it's a good job, assuming that it is a good choice. But at the same time, I don't want her feeling like, it's just not going to be enough for her. So I'm going to reiterate all the things she's going to get with it and build the value again. Okay, so let's go on to dropping the price. There's a program that I recommend that will give us guidance and expertise that we're after, but it's not going to break the bank on you. Okay. Then if we wish to invest in more help later, that's always an option. You can always come to me and say, hey, look, I need more help, or I'm really loving this, and suddenly, I'm telling you, I've seen this with 1 million people. Suddenly, the money appears out of nowhere, right? Because why? I'm not saying it's in your case, but it's human nature. It suddenly becomes a priority for you. People will spend money on things that are a priority for them. So if I can get you to see the value in the working out and how it's working for you, it's pretty common for people to say, oh, you know what? This is great. Like, I want to do more. Totally fine. We can do that. We can cross that bridge when we come to it. Is that fair?
Sure. Okay.
Let me show you then. It's whatever that is. Now, for most personal training packages or any health and wellness package, and if you don't have this, by the way, in your small business or your large business for that reason, you need to have it. You need to have drops. It can't just be those 3. You have to have an ace up your sleeve. Not for you to use as a crutch, mind you. I'll never offer this as a crutch. This is only literally doorknob closed material. They're getting ready to walk out the door. Otherwise, I'm always holding my value. I'm never dropping my pants. So at this point, if we did it correctly earlier, we've told her exactly what she's getting out of the membership or the package or the personal training package or the spa package, whatever she's purchasing at this point, she knows what she's getting out of that package because I've built the value already. Okay, so I'm going to reiterate what those things are one more time. If she's, again, showing resistance earlier and I have to reclose, I'm going to tell her again, okay, you're getting X Y, and Z, and I'll take 2 or 3 minutes and re-explain it again. You're still getting the same things we talked about before. Nothing changes. The only difference is, and this is, if it were personal training, it's an easy drop, you're just not meeting with me as often. So I'm going to give you the guidance that you need, but you're not going to need to be with me, every single second. I don't have to hold your hand as much. Now, this will work for you. It's a really good way to sell this, so she's recommitting to it. This will work for you if, okay, it's not going to work for you if you're not dedicated. So if somebody's going to have a hard time with it, dedication-wise, I'm going to recommend you do something a little bit more. But are you someone who's dedicated to this? Are you really committed to it this time? Okay, now if I didn't think she was, in other words, in my head I'm playing the fact that, I really don't think she's that dedicated. I probably wouldn't use that. But the fact that I know she's leaning on that price concern so much, I can play this card. Does that make sense? Okay, so at this point I'm going to go, okay, so it will work for you the same way as all of our other packages work for you, but in this scenario, we're going to give you the exact same guidance you need. We're just not going to meet with you as often, okay? It's not going to break the bank on you, okay, but you're going to have to commit to it. Are you okay with that? Okay, this is going to work great for you. I've actually seen a lot of people do very well with this, okay?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
At the beginning, can we meet a little bit more frequently and then maybe taper off?
Sure.
Okay.
Do whatever you have to do, have that pliability, absolutely. In those scenarios, we just want to get her to commit. We're trying to help her help herself. Yes, if that's what's going to take to get her to commit to a program today, not tomorrow. We know that no one comes back on when it comes to health. They're not going to come back unless they actually have a problem like acute problem. We know that. Or it's going to be 3 years from now or 5 years from now. That's the way it works. It's human nature. So if she doesn't take action right now, forget about seeing her again. I don't care what she says to you, because she might actually believe it in his head. She might actually believe that she's going to come back. She's not going to, because it's human nature. She's going to sleep on it, and that's it. You're not going to see her again for a couple of years. She's not going to go to any gym, any health wellness. Virtually not. 80% of people won't do that.
He seemed very genuine to me in his concern about my health and well-being and making my goals. And as the value of literally the cost of it dropped, clearly the attention and what I was getting for that also had to go down with it. And so with that, I started to feel that support almost shrink as well. And that's where I got concerned that in addition to money, was needing the help to do what I need to do in the gym. And so that's why I asked the question if you would be there at the beginning, if we could taper this down.
Okay, so we're doing this in real time. So that might be a natural concern that somebody has in the moment. Absolutely. So again,
the confidence.
Whatever that is going to, there's a lot of people, and this is something that I didn't come to a realization to until relatively recently. I didn't realize, because I've always been into a health and fitness environment. I've always most of my career I've been there. So to me, I don't think about this very often, but it makes perfect sense on a first day of school perspective, which is, there's a lot of people out there that just don't want to look or feel dumb when they're on the floor, just kind of doing random stuff and it makes them feel stupid. They feel intimidated. Understandably so. So that might be what she's feeling in the moment. So again, that's what I'm trying I'm trying to help her find a solution. This isn't to manipulate her. This isn't to, just get her to buy something. Okay? That comes naturally out of me helping her. Right? Once we both find ourselves a win-win, I win also. That's just how it works. So I give her value. She compensates us for job well done. Now, the other thing you want to keep in mind here is we want to give her an alternate package. Okay? Again, I have another one up my sleeve as well. So maybe before I was showing her once, twice, 3 times a week if it was personal training. I might show her every other week now. Okay? Every other week. And if I'm not lazy, I'll let her say no to that before I drop again. I'm not going to show them both. Okay? So, irregardless, I'm not going to take you through that. But the point is that if she says no to one of those, I'm going to drop again one more time. Okay, one more time. Because at that point, I'm down to once a month. If she is not going to commit to once a month, she's not really committed to doing this at this point, as far as I'm concerned. So at that point, I've done what I can do. The best thing to do in cases like that is to let them know that that they're never coming back again. Okay, but in a nice professional way. Okay, every once in a while, it's a really nice, satisfying feeling for them to walk out knowing that, hey, I know that that I know that you're not coming back or doing anything, because you've done this before. You've done this for 5 years. You think that by not doing it this time, that suddenly tomorrow you're going to wake up and suddenly pull the trigger? Highly doubtful. So you want to let them know that at this point, because you've built a lot of value. You've taken a lot of time with this person. You've tried to help them. They're trying to help them help themselves. They've been in this particular case, Mrs. Snow's been trying to do this for years. So if she's not going to take action, she might be fooling herself, but she's not fooling me. And I need her to know that. Does that make sense? It's very important, actually. It's very important for your psyche. I promise you it's very important. But we have to do it professionally. So I know that you believe that, Mrs. Snow, that you're going to take action and do this next time. And you know what? I hope you do. I hope you do. I just know what I've seen in my experience with helping people in the past. And it's very difficult. Myself being a human being, I understand that it's very difficult to do. But I wish you best. If I can help you, please let me know. But it doesn't mean I agree with you. I understand where you're coming from, but it doesn't mean I agree with you. Now, again, we say that for the end. She hasn't said no yet. Okay, but that's what you would say if she did say no. I'm just prepping you because I don't, it just makes me angry. We've given her one option. If she bid on that, we'll give her that one. If she didn't bite on that, we'll give her the second option. Okay, again, not dropping value, holding it high. So at this point, you're going to say yes to it. Yeah, I think I can do that.
Yes, I think I can do that.
Okay. Now, at this point, I want to make sure that she feels confident with what she did. I don't want to tear down the value just because it was cheaper. And also, I want to make her feel good about this. This is a big decision for her. We want to make sure that she feels really good about this. Because I know it's great, or I want to be offering it to her. I want her to feel the same way. I want us to be on the same page. Yeah, I think it's a perfect solution for you. Do you prefer to set up your first workout with a guy or a woman? Now, while I'm doing it, it can be any question you want to, depending on the situation. That would be if I was selling it for somebody else. But another question I might ask is, okay, let's talk about scheduling. What's the best time? Again, I'm here to accommodate your schedule. Would you prefer? I'm here to accommodate your schedule. I'll work around your schedule. But that being said, is there a time of the day or day during the week that always works best for you? The reason why I'm asking that is because I'm trying to get her train of thought past that. I've already congratulated her. She made a decision finally after years. She made a decision. I want to congratulate her, make her feel good, and empower her with that. And now I want her to get off that so she doesn't have to deliberate anymore. She can get off that. She can relax, take a deep breath, and make sure that she feels confident in what she just did. Okay? So now we're off to the next thing immediately. Okay? Let's get into another train of thought. Immediately I'm shifting her focus to her first workout or to her first workout with somebody else or whatever that next initial step is. But I want her focusing on that now. It takes her mind off any sort of irrational thoughts or potential remorse she might have about it. I don't want to have buyer's remorse in 5 seconds after her initial decision-making process. There's an outside chance, a very slim outside chance, that she still has resistance. Like when I go to take the credit card and ask for the credit card, for example, maybe, okay? I know this is crazy. This is very rare. But just in case, this is how much I'm willing to battle someone, okay?
I still think I'm going to have to go home and think about it.
Okay, that's what you want to do. But don't. Relax, calm down, take a deep breath. I understand. It's always I understand. I don't understand. But I understand. I understand that this is something you don't have much experience with and can be very intimidating. I get that. I'm putting myself in her shoes. That's what she's feeling. Which is why I'm here to help you. I know it's difficult for yourself to do, but this is why you came here to meet with me, correct? I understand that a reaction for somebody in our shoes is to want to go home and think about it. But let me ask you this, and I don't even need you to answer me. I just ask that you be completely honest and blunt with yourself when I ask you this. Can you do that? Now, this is a little monologue here, and choose to paraphrase this any way you want to, but this is very important. Again, this is in the course materials, but it's very important because this is your closing statement, Your Honor. Okay, so you have to nail this because this could be the last door-dom close you go for. Okay? What happens if you go home right now and make no commitment? Now, this is a moving away motivational question. So we know that she's moving towards, but everyone has a little bit of both. Okay, so maybe I got it wrong in the initial thing. Maybe she's a moving away person in this degree. So I'm going to do a moving away at this point. What happens if she doesn't do it? Okay, she's not the one who can answer that question for. She only knows what pain is associated with that. Okay, and I'm now going to try to leverage that. Are you going to feel better about that in the long run? Is anything really going to change? Now, I do this a lot with people. If you walk out that room right now and nothing happens, you might feel better. In your mind, a lot of people do this. A lot of people walk in the gym, Mrs. Snow, and they come in and they're like, you know what, I took that step. I finally got in the gym. It took me 5 years to get here. And they walk out and they're like, because they like the idea of it. And they leave and they feel like they've done something. But have they actually done anything? Have they? Did they actually make any changes? Nothing was actually accomplished, was it? No, and we want her to feel that way. Are you going to feel better about that long? Is anything really going to change? You told me when we first met that you've been putting off setting up a workout for years, correct? I won't speak for you, but I know many of the people that I've helped in the past have been putting it off as well. No one comes in the same day. It usually takes months or years in a lot of people's cases to actually take action and make changes in your life. I find that people like the idea of making change, but they leave without actually making a commitment to actually making change. Does anything actually happen to create change if we didn't make a decision to do so? Now again, are you going to read it like this? No. But you get the point. As long as you paraphrase it something like this. It makes them feel better in the moment because they can tell themselves that they took a step. But did they? Nothing has changed, has it? They didn't commit to anything. Notice how I'm talking about they, not her directly. Wouldn't you agree that working out in general is a commitment? Did you know that when people don't commit to a program, that the very same day they visit a gym, that 80% of them will go to any fitness facility for 2 years? Think about that. Now, why is that? It's human psychology. I'm no different than you are. It makes them feel better in the moment, but they didn't take any action to incur the changes that they said they wanted to make. You're telling me in the moment that you want to make changes. You're here. You're in the moment right now. What are we gaining by putting it off yet again? Are you going to help me help you?
Yes.
And cue crying. Okay, so again, is it a bit ridiculous? Yes. Yes. Okay? Now, if we get to this point and you still see her, at that point, if she's not going to say yes to that, she's not going to say yes to anything more likely. What you can also do, and again, I don't like to do this, this is another crutch that I don't like to use, but most gyms or most businesses, most spas, whatever, give you a 30-day guarantee of some sort. Okay, so I can even use that if I really feel like I need it, really feel like I need to do it. I can always say, look, if you come in a certain amount of days, let's say it's 12 out of the month, come in 12 times in the first 30 days you're working out, and this doesn't work for you, and I'm not the trainer for you, and this gym is not the place for you, you can cancel. Are you okay with that? Now you have nothing.
I guess it helps ease my concerns.
That's right. Now, if you come in, I've tricked you, Mrs. Snow, because if you come in 3 times a week, because 12 times, what have we kind of done in a month? I'm not saying we've established a habit, but we've kind of established a habit, and you're getting in better shape. Are you going to quit after all that? Probably not. And I'm perfectly comfortable with letting her know that. What has she got to lose? I'm here to create a win-win scenario. Why would you not do that after all this? But again, if she doesn't, what more can you do at that point? You just need to let her know that you know that I'm not buying it, right? I understand, Mrs. Snow, that you feel that way, and I understand where you're coming from, but it doesn't mean I agree with it. I'm here to help you take action and make changes. That's what you're hiring me for. If I can't get you to commit to me right now and get you to follow through, then why would you commit to me as your trainer to help you follow through with your workout routine?
All right, fine. You talked me into it. I'll be here. I'm bringing my A game. You better bring yours.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Once again, this is a very extreme example of just kind of taking it to the limit. Rarely will you encounter this, but it shows you how resistance is outlasted by persistence. Okay, so just because she says no, or doesn't want to do it right away, doesn't mean anything to me. It just means I haven't gotten there yet, if that makes sense. So all I'm going to do is listen to what she has to say, okay? Deaf ear understand what the concerns are, deaf ear it, and keep moving. Isolate the concern again, build the value back up, build a commitment, and then reclose. Simple as that. So again, we're doing this in real time. There is no, I have a script here, but there is no real script in real life. I'm just giving you some rebuttals in the moment. Again, sales do not happen in a vacuum, therefore rebuttals don't. So I don't like pre-manufactured anything. I want something to be real and authentic and genuine in the moment. Because if they feel that I feel what they feel, we're going to have natural empathy there. She's going to trust me. Why? Because she can trust me at this point, because I've listened to her this entire time. I've spent my own time with her, asked her questions, getting to the root of what she's all about. If I'm willing to do all of this, it's not about the sale at that point. It's about, look, let's do what's going to help both of us here. In this case, what's going to help her? And we'll worry about me later, because ultimately if it helps her, it's going to help everybody involved. So let's help her get and genuinely want to help her. If you're not engaged with her to help coach her to where she needs to go, and where she says she wants us to go, how are we going to help her? Lastly, there is always a combination. Don't get discouraged. There's always a combination to lock, whether it's emotional, whether it's logical. If they're not emotional, get them that way. Trust me, something's going to make them emotional. If it's someone that you know is emotional, most people are emotional, especially when it comes to working out and their self-image. So it's not that hard to stir up. Look at my course materials. I'll show you how to do that. But as far as logical, same thing. Get a little bit of both in there. A lot of people are logical also, especially men. Mainly men come in, they're very logical. A lot of accountants that come in, financial advisors, things like that. What are they going to be focusing on? The emotion? No, sir. They're going to be focused on the numbers. So you got to speak them in their language, and you can break it down that way as well. Point is, whatever needs to be done in the moment, you're empathizing with them, you're actively listening to them. That's the key. And then you can emotionally get in their shoes. You can psychologically know what the standpoint that they're coming from, but you have to listen. You have to pay attention. Nonverbal cues. Look at their eyes. Look at any cue that they give you. Read all the course materials I gave you. Watch the videos. I show you how to do this, but pay attention. By doing so, you're going to build a lot of empathy, a lot of rapport, and you're going to know what to do in real time in response to the moment and in response to what they need. And then that's all you do with rebuttals. Rebuttals is about rehearsing and giving a prefabricated response to something. It's about being in a moment with that person and in the situation with that person, dealing with stuff in real time and being pliable to it in the moment. That's what it's really about.